Hello everybody and welcome to the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. My name is Caroline Jane Knight. I'm the fifth great niece of Jane Austen and I had the absolute privilege of growing up at Chawton House in the south of England on my family's ancestral estate where Jane herself lived and wrote. I am also the founder and chair of the foundation and I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Charles Burns and Julia Grantham. Now, Charles is a celebrity silhouette artist who has cut silhouettes of all sorts of famous people, from Nelson Mandela and Bill Clinton and the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. And recently, Charles has done a new silhouette of Jane Austen exclusively for the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. And we're here today to talk about silhouettes and to draw the winner of a competition that we have been running for the fabulous prize of a double Zoom silhouette session with Charles for our winner and three of their friends and family, which is a fantastic prize. So welcome, Charles, and welcome, Julia. Now, Julia is the manager of our book plate collection, and our book plates are a traditional way of marking the ownership of books. And we have a special collection of book plates, all designed by different artists, which you can purchase from the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation and stick in the front of your books to mark your favourite books. So welcome, Julia, welcome, Charles. And I'd actually just like to start by asking you how this new silhouette came about.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for the welcome. The silhouette came about because Julia contacted me and asked me to provide something. Julia, how did that go? Remind me.
Yes, as a manager of the program, I reach out to different artists who I notice do something to do with Jane Austen or literacy. And because Charles has been a visitor and an artist working at Bath, Jane Austen Bath Festival year after year, I thought, well, Charles does Regency things, so it'll be interesting to ask him if he wants to contribute to our collection. And so I reached out to him and Charles said, well, the only thing I can think of is to create a new silhouette of Jane Austen. And to me, it was music to my ears because that was exactly what I secretly hoped for, wasn't it, Charles? So yes, and also, although this conversation was in the middle of the lockdown and the pandemic, we nevertheless managed to come up with the idea of using a waxwork, which was relatively recently unveiled in Bath, in Jane Austen Centre in Bath, as sort of main model for the silhouette. But actually, Charles will be probably much better to tell you about it because he used other things as well in creating his work.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. I mean, I'm only aware of two other silhouettes of Jane Austen, one of which everybody is very familiar with. It's a silhouette in the National Portrait Gallery in London titled Les Marbles Jane. And there's another silhouette, which is a self-portrait by Jane Austen, which currently resides at Winchester Cathedral. And the interesting thing about these silhouettes is they don't look very much like each other. And so it's very hard to say what exactly Jane Austen would have looked like. But when I saw the waxwork in Bath, it was clearly much more like the silhouette at Winchester Cathedral, but obviously a younger version, perhaps a younger version of that same profile. So it seemed to me that waxwork would make a very good model for a silhouette. Because I've always been slightly dissatisfied with the silhouette that everyone takes to be Jane Austen, wondering how much it really looks like her. Whereas from her writing and also from the silhouette in Winchester Cathedral, it strikes me that Jane Austen was a much more forcible character than the well-known silhouette would perhaps suggest. So I was very happy to put my own ideas about Jane Austen into the silhouette. And the result is the silhouette that you're now selling as a book plate.
Absolutely, and I have to say, I mean, the silhouette. I mean, you're right. I mean, the silhouette that everybody knows of Jane Austen is relatively, I don't know what to say, it's relatively generic, isn't it, as a silhouette? It doesn't necessarily have much character in it, I don't think,
it's a very pretty young girl. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It sort of could be lots and lots of people. It doesn't sort of, whereas the one that you've done, as you said, using that waxwork, just comes alive in a way. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and it really does look like a, you know, yes, a real person full of character, and it's
Thank
wonderful.
you very much. I mean, to me, the reason silhouettes come alive is partly through the way they're made. You know, I've always, you know, when I make a silhouette, I always just cut with paper and scissors. And so it's quite a freehand process. I don't use any kind of photographic technique or anything like that. And I think that there's something about just cutting with scissors which produces a kind of liveliness in the line, which is sometimes accidental, but sometimes it just brings out a little bit more of character. It sometimes surprises even me when I make the silhouette, what happens. So there's an element of lack of control where you just allow the silhouette to emerge out of the paper and see what happens, which I really enjoy about silhouettes. And I think the best silhouettes sometimes surprise me when I make them, as well as other people.
Well, we know that the prize for this competition is a double silhouette session with you, where you can do silhouettes online on Zoom.
Exactly.
And lots of people ask me, how can it be done? You know,
well, I'll show you how it can be done. But essentially, for each, what I'm doing on Zoom is I'm inviting people into my studio, and I set up a series of dates, 3 or 4 dates every month, which I call my virtual studio days. And people can book a sitting to come and have silhouettes done over Zoom, which is very simple. But the only difference is that people, instead of facing the camera, as we all are now, people have to be seated in profile so that I can see their silhouette. And in a double sitting, I can do silhouettes of 4 or 5 people, or maybe, so it could be a small family, or it could be a couple and their dog, or it could be 2 people wanting silhouettes from each side, or a caricature. There's lots of ways we can play it. Essentially, you'll book a set amount of time with me, and we just play with scissors and paper and see what comes out. Perhaps the best way to illustrate this process is if I do a silhouette of Caroline now while you're here, since I don't think you've had your silhouette done before, Caroline.
I haven't. No, shall we?
Can we have a go at that? I'll
Excellent.
show you how it works. Caroline, I'm going to pin your video so I can see you nice and large. And essentially what I need you in profile like this. I don't mind which side, but I need to see the side of your face, which is going to feel very weird because you can carry on talking at me, but you can't look at me. And I'm going to take a pair of scissors and hold it, hopefully, so people at home can get some idea what I'm doing, and cut around the profile. And I always begin the silhouette at the front. So essentially, I cut up the chest and around that big red scarf. And then I do the chin and the mouth. No, it's absolutely fine. I always cut whatever's there. And then I go around the nose. And I'm going to put in a little eyelash and then come up to your fringe. And I try and cut the silhouette as much as possible in a single line. So I try and get the whole shape in one go. And then afterwards, maybe I go back around and just tease away little bits of flyaway hair and other details like that. And now I'm going around the back of the head, down the back to the big red scarf. And the key to a silhouette is getting the shape right. The important thing is to get the whole shape of the head and the way the head sits on the shoulders. And if you do that, the likeness should be there. So we're nearly done now. I'm just going to trim your hair. I'm going to poke a few holes just where the light is shining through the fringe at the front of your hair. Take away a few extra lines and another little hole at the back, just above the line of your scarf. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You can relax. I'm now going to hold this up to the camera so you can see. And because it's a little bit indistinct, I'm going to put something white behind it.
Wow.
So you can see the
silhouette. That's me. Absolutely.
That's
wow.
Caroline Knight, made in silhouette.
That's,
So
It's amazing.
fantastic.
people at home can see that
Wow.
the process is fairly rapid. So when people join me in my studio, whether it's for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, actually we can play around with the scissors and paper. And in that sort of time, I can do quite a number of silhouettes. So it's very easy to do a family group in quite a short sitting. And afterwards, I will put the silhouettes onto cards like this, and I will pop them in the post, either by airmail or UK post, wherever they are in the world, and they'll get them a few days later. And that's how my online silhouette business is currently working.
And people don't even have to be in the same room. They can join.
Absolutely
I
not.
mean, if
No.
the family is dispersed all around the world, they can join for silhouette session with you and do a family session together, can't they? Or
Absolutely. One of the wonders of Zoom is it really doesn't matter where in the world you are. I can do a silhouette anyway. And if there are 4 or 5 people on different screens, it's fine. I just pin the screen that I'm working on and cut the silhouette that way.
Well, I'm just how amazingly talented, because it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, obviously I wasn't watching, but you've just, as you said, just in one cut, you make it look so easy. But of course it's not. And if any of the rest of us tried it, it wouldn't look like us at all. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary.
It requires a number of years of practice, that's for sure.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
almost 30 years for you,
Oh,
Charles.
almost, yes, in my case, yes, you're right.
Yes. What is amazing that every time you produce a silhouette and you can see that is that person, you know, that's Caroline.
It should be. The cutting a silhouette is like drawing a portrait. I describe it as drawing a portrait in one line. And so, like any portrait artist, I'm looking to capture the physical likeness for sure, but ideally you need to go a little bit beyond that and to say something about the person. So in a portrait should say a little bit about the character of the person, and you should be able to see something about who the person was. And that, of course, was the greatest challenge in making a silhouette of Jane Austen, because I've never met her, none of us have. So it's very hard to know what kind of a person she was, but nevertheless, that's what I attempted to do in making her portrait.
Yes.
So shall we draw the winner of our competition then? So we have, I think the last three weeks been running a competition where everyone who's purchased a book plate featuring the fantastic new silhouette of Jane Austen has gone into the competition to win the double Zoom silhouette session with Charles. So I have got all the names in here that I have prepared. We've had a fantastic response. Thank you so much to everybody that has participated. The Jane Austen Literacy Foundation is run entirely by volunteers. So 100% of the money that we raise is spent on literacy projects and literacy activities. So we really do make very, very good use of the money. So thank you to everybody who's participated. So if we can have a little drum roll, I will pop my hand in and pick a name. They're all folded up, so I can't see who it is. And the winner is Amanda Mortensen. Amanda Mortensen. It's wonderful. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Amanda. That's very, very well done. And thank you so much for entering. And I can't wait to see the your silhouettes at the end. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Congratulations to Amanda. And please log in quickly and book a session on my site. And I look forward to seeing you in one of my Zoom studios in the next few weeks.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So I was just going to say, this is not all. The competition is over, but people still can book silhouettes with Charles and donate to Jane Austen Literacy Foundation, because Charles has created a special page for people who are booking through Jane Austen Literacy Foundation, and they can book with a 10% discount, and another 10% will go to the foundation for every booking. And I will put the link online on this video. So it continues. You have still your chance to have a silhouette done and to contribute to our work.
Fantastic, fantastic. And thank you again, Charles, for your generosity in supporting what we do.
It was my great pleasure. I'm very happy to be involved.
And a huge thank you to you, Julia, for of course, the initiative to get this wonderful silhouette done, and of course to create such a beautiful bookplate to add to our collection. So thank you as well for all of the hard work that you put into it. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
So I think that's it. So thank you, as I said, to everyone who's participated. It's been a fantastic campaign, and we are so thrilled that we now have this wonderful silhouette to enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.